Hello, normally I don't do proper intros like this, but today I am interviewing Timbleweebs from Deadwater Gaming. I have 10 questions here right next to me, so let's just start asking them. Who or what inspired you to make a YouTube channel?
It's two things, actually, that kind of mesh together into one thing, in a way. One being Venturi and Entail, of course. I watched them a lot, and I liked the way they did their content, that they did clean comedy and did it well. So they definitely inspired a lot about Deadwater, and in quite a few ways they still influence aspects of our content. The second thing being the Gmod series Full Life Consequences and its spin-off videos, especially Quarter Life Halfway to Destruction. I was first introduced to those videos by Isaac, Homeless Goomba, actually. When Venturi and Tail first set up their Legacy Stats chat group in like late 2013-ish, if I'm remembering correctly, I was one of the moderators along with Mahogany and Marble, and Isaac would show up to post memes and goof off with all the group members in the general chat almost every day. He posted a link to Quarter Life at one point and frequently referenced it, even in a few of the videos he made on the Venturian channel. I thought it was funny at the time, but I forgot about it for years afterward until I accidentally stumbled upon Full Life Consequences when I was like 16. After watching the full series, it became one of my favorite pieces of YouTube content ever, and it was a huge hit with Mahogany as well. It turned out there was a lot of fan fictions written by the same guy who wrote a few of the Full Life videos that were never turned into Gary's Mod Machinimas. So I sent a few of the fanfictions to Mahogany and asked him if he would ever be interested in picking up where Icton left off. Icton's the guy who would animate the fanfictions in Gmod. And he did. So after making the first one, I thought it would be a good idea to make a separate channel to put our friend group's gaming related videos onto, since I was getting more serious about my personal channel at the time. And I didn't want gaming content mixed up with the rest of my stuff. As for my personal channel, I originally made it as a gaming channel for a different group of friends before I met Mahogany and Wobble, but it was dormant for so long I eventually just turned it into a personal channel instead. I started getting into animation after I met Mahogany and Marvel in Isaac's Galaxy Warfare guild called Studio Ghibli. I had an idea to make a video heavily mimicking the Borderlands 2 intro cutscene, introducing each of our friends in the guild and having them do some showy action movie stuff with abilities reminiscent of each person's real personality or quirks or talents or whatever. I started learning how to animate specifically just so I could make that video for the guild, but ironically that's the one video I never actually got around to making, even after learning enough to make it. I almost kind of want to go back and animate it for old time's sake now that I'm bringing it up.
What motivates you to make content?
I'm motivated to make content because, well, for one, it's my job, but another reason is because I enjoy hanging out with my friends. Mahogany is one of the funniest people I know, so of course recording games with him is extremely fun, and I enjoy being a supplier of clean YouTube content in an otherwise not so clean generation of YouTube creators. Except for Venturi and Tail, of course.
The Buy a Bot series appears to be finished. What do you plan on doing next?
So yeah, the Buy a Bot series is finished for now. We will continue it if Valve ever makes another single-player campaign game, but for now it's over. I think the next big thing we're going to be doing is Portal Google Translated Edition. We were contacted by the guy who made the other Google Translated mods a few months ago, and he asked if we would be interested in doing voice acting roles for Portal Google Translated Edition. We scored two of the biggest roles. Mahogany got Gladys, and I got the turrets. We've already recorded all our voice lines for the mod, and we're really excited to play through the full thing when it comes out. I think machinima-wise, we're probably not going to be doing much unless we decide to do more of the original fan fictions that were never animated that I mentioned earlier, which could definitely happen. But for now, I think we're just going to be focusing on playing cool Half-Life mods and whatever other games we feel like playing around in. Or playing literally any game with any YouTube creator who happens to be just as clean as we are. Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
Do you think you will continue to explore new games and content?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be exploring new games. I don't know about new content. I mean like new kinds of content. I think we're probably just going to be sticking to playing games and machinimas, but you never know. I mean, I did do that one more analytical video of Vance, and that turned out kind of cool, so I might do more in-depth analytical kind of videos like that maybe in the future. There's one other one that I was planning on doing that I might still do. We used to do VR videos as well, and I am hoping to get back into doing that again. Hopefully. It's VR is kind of a hard thing to record.
In your Word Chain Machinima video, the editor talked about a Discord server. Is the server available to the public?
Yeah, the Discord server. Yeah, we had a Discord server for a pretty long time. I think we started it in 2017, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think I've ever actually confronted the Discord thing on camera, but without going into too much detail, basically it was fine, and then around 2019 it started to go downhill a lot, and it was very hard to moderate in the way that I wanted to. There's a lot of reasons that led up to its destruction, but I ultimately decided it would be better to just delete it and forget it ever existed. So I did, and I'm still glad I did. The one thing that I am kind of disappointed about, though, is that there was a way that I could have archived the server instead of just straight up wiping it off the face of the earth. So I still could have technically got rid of the server, but kept all of the messages and like archived it basically. That I wasn't aware of that at the time, so it's all gone.
Have you been interested in continuing some series on your own channel, such as Anti-Trooper 1?
Oh, I'm definitely interested in continuing my personal projects like Anti-Trooper 1. The main issue is that I lost contact with the voice actors I needed for the rest of the series. I'm super busy with Deadwater now, and AT1 is such a huge project that it would literally take all my time to complete at this stage in my life. I am hoping to eventually finish the series in its entirety someday when I'm in a better position to do so, but for now I'm going to be focusing on smaller, more manageable animation projects on my personal channel.
J.J. Abrams just announced that he is finally working on the Portal movie he announced 8 years ago, but dropped the Half-Life movie. Your thoughts?
I mean, like, honestly, J.J. Abrams has been saying that he's been working on the Portal movie, like, once every year for the last like 8 or 9 years. And every time he brings it up, he's just like, oh yeah, we're writing the script now at Warner Brothers, it'll happen eventually. He has said that they've been writing the script at Warner Brothers literally like once every year for 8 years. I'm not joking. I don't know if he's telling the truth. He could be. Maybe it's just because it's a Valve project and every Valve project's cursed to spend like 20 years in development before it ever actually happens. I don't know. But I mean, like, if it ever happened, that would be cool. Any Valve game movie would be extremely interesting to see, even if it wasn't technically good. Like, video game movies usually aren't good. But it would still be super interesting and fun to watch. I don't really know what exactly they would do for a Portal movie. I mean, maybe, like, if they did a movie on Aperture Science as they got to building GLaDOS and then GLaDOS eventually wiping out the entire science facility, I think that would make for an interesting movie. But, like, if they were gonna make a movie out of the literal, like, in-game plot, there's not really much they can do with that because all Valve playable characters are silent protagonists. Shell's the silent protagonist. The whole game's basically just puzzles, and there isn't much story content in the original game the way it was. I have no idea how they would be able to turn that into an actual movie. Who knows? That's just my thoughts. As for the Half-Life movie, yeah, I am kind of disappointed about that because I think Half-Life would make a great movie. I think the main thing about video game movies is that I think they turn out better when you're not trying to recreate the in-game plot with the original characters. Like, I think if they were trying to make a Half-Life movie starring Gordon Freeman as the main protagonist, I think it would be terrible no matter how they went about doing that, because Gordon is a silent protagonist and everybody has their own idea of what Gordon's personality is like. And it would just be written off as one of those terrible video game movies. I think if they did it from a different character's perspective of the Black Mesa incident, or I personally think that Half-Life 2, the universe of Half-Life 2, is ripe with plenty of movie-worthy plots. I mean, the universe of Half-Life 2 is amazing. I don't know how to explain it. A movie taking place in the universe of Half-Life 2 would be great, as long as it wasn't focusing on the actual game characters themselves. I mean, like, if there was involvement with the Vances or something, that would be okay, as long as it wasn't, like, throughout the entire movie, and if they did it right.
Are you ever going to upload full gameplay series on either Deadwater Gaming or your own channel?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do that. The main thing, and I think Jordan pointed this out as well, is that the way YouTube is currently set up, it's really hard to do series of the same game to completion, because every subsequent episode the views drop significantly. And I don't know if that's part of the algorithm, or if people in the current generation just don't like watching the same game that many times in a row. I don't know, but that's just the way things are right now. And I feel like if I were to do a full series of a game like Skyrim or whatever, even if it was a game that people wanted to see on our channel, I think the views would dwindle every episode until it was basically just like the same two people watching every episode. And that's not good, because that kind of makes your channel look unprofessional, as well as being very unprofitable. I think we can get away for it for smaller things, like when we played Leon's Half-Life 3. Van made Half-Life 3 is whack, because we played through that entire game from start to finish in a series, and we were able to get away with that because we only needed like 4 episodes to get through it. But, you know, in a big game like Skyrim or some other big AAA game, even with mods, it's like they can go on for a really long time. And I liked that about old YouTube. I liked those really big series like Skyrim Tale or Fallout Tale. They were great. And I honestly wish YouTube was more like the way it was back then. Not only the algorithm and the people running the website, but as well as the people using the website, I think had a much healthier mindset back then.
The YouTube algorithm is constantly changing. How do you think your content is going to keep up with it?
How do I think my content is going to keep up with the YouTube algorithm? I honestly don't know, because the YouTube algorithm is constantly changing. The people that run YouTube are, for lack of a better word, complete psychopaths most of the time, and they are completely unpredictable. So I have absolutely no idea how to follow the algorithm, and honestly, it just keeps getting worse anyways. All I can really do is guess, and even then, I don't really like playing into the YouTube algorithm, because if I play into the YouTube algorithm all the time, I don't get to do the stuff that I actually want to do, because I'm basically just doing whatever YouTube wants me to do, which is extremely vague and ambiguous most of the time. But then if you ever do figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing to appease the algorithm, then that's pretty much all you can do at that point, because it's the only thing that gets you views. And I don't want to be restricted to just one thing that gets me views, because it's, for one thing, boring, but as well as, like, it makes the entire platform of YouTube boring when everybody's doing the same thing all the time, because then there's no variable content. It's hard to find unique content that you enjoy when everyone everywhere on the entire platform is playing the same game, doing the same kind of commentary with the same everything. I don't know. It's so monotonous and annoying. I just want to be able to do what I want to do and have it succeed based on if people like it or not what YouTube wants to determine if people should like it or not. I don't know.
You said that camera that Venturi entail was a big part of you creating your channel. What are your thoughts on their falling number of views?
So yeah, Venturi entail was definitely a big part of making our channel. Isaac's the only reason I met Mahogany in the first place, so this channel basically wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them. But I mean, obviously it makes me depressed to see their channel not doing as well as it used to. It quite literally is my favorite YouTube channel in existence. And I of course I want to see them succeed. I honestly blame the majority of their falling views to YouTube itself. I don't know if it's just me, but I've noticed that it seems like most YouTubers have had a huge drop in views lately, or like their views accumulate much slower than before in like the past few months. It could just be me, I don't know, but I've noticed that just all of a sudden, like a couple months ago, most of the YouTubers I'm subscribed to are getting like way less views than they did a couple months ago. Something probably changed, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's not very much else to say. Venturi entail was a huge part of my childhood. I of course I want to see them succeed. They're good people. And there are very few good people left in the world as it is right now.
That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you and Timbleweebs for joining me. Please subscribe to Deadwater Gaming and Venturi entail. And I will see y'all later.